I got the idea for Derailed about 1.5 years ago. I was trying to think of something different that we could do where we would have some suspense, some horror, even sort of some period piece kind of combination. And I thought about a train crashing, a train derailing. Obviously, I don't want to give up too much of the plot of the movie. So I came up with this concept. And I went to Dale Fabigar and Everette Wallin, who I've worked with on several occasions, and said, guys, I have this great idea, and here's what I want to do. And you know, they looked at me and said, what? And I said, no, you know, we can do this. I have this vision. And they came back to me with this amazing script. I was so excited and so blown away. So we were off to the races.
First of all, Suzanne, our producer, came to me with this idea. And we had been banging around an idea to follow up a film we had done years ago. And it was just so outrageous. It was something about a train, and it was something that goes underwater or something like that. And I just thought it was just kind of, you know, crazy. So, you know, when she came to me with this idea, I actually ran away from the idea initially. And then she came back to me and said, what do you think about that idea? So I said, okay, let me do some research. Let me see how I can make this work. I did a ton of research on train accidents and the history of wrecks and trains, and I fell in love with trains, first of all, and the history of it all. Working on a movie is a really collaborative situation. We work with a lot of people to bring together a story and a vision, and it's really important to get that right team. And this is an independent, so yeah, and Everette is a writer. I've worked with him on a previous film and on numerous other projects. Wonderful actor as well, and he's in the film.
I go, okay, so let me just go back and see if we can come up with a story for this. And so, you know, you go back in your hole, your little cave, wherever you live, and you start putting up boards and names, and before too long, you've kind of got something fleshed out, people and situations, and Dale and I start pacing back and forth in a room talking about, all right, what if this happens? What, now we can't do that. Well, yeah, we can, try, you know, and so before you know it, you've got an idea that started from nothing but Suzanne telling Dale, what if we had a train? What if there was some sort of derailment? And what if we had some aspects of horror in there as well, and you know, murder mystery? And so you just shake all that up and try to make a compelling and interesting story out of it. So, you know, that's where it all began.
And then all these other folks that just felt compelled to help on this feature really liked the story, the fun of it. It's a creature movie, it's a survival disaster film. There's so many elements to it. They just wanted to be really a big part of it. You know, horror is an opportunity for a lot of new coming artists and filmmakers in other departments to kind of strut their, you know, wings or creativity, and I've given them that. So I say, what can we do here? I'm open to any ideas, and they come in with these ideas, and this could work, we could afford that, can't do that, let's do this instead. So this is a chance to kind of give everyone a chance, from actors to the art department to every other lighting to the grip. All of these people are important to making a film and telling the right story. So they're so important to me, and I cherish them, and you know, they're with me right now. We'll see how long they stay with me before we all derail. Until we get out.
So when we found out it was in the 1920s, we obviously had to do research to see how the makeup was back then, because it's completely different from modern day as far as makeup goes. What about you guys?
Okay. And for the hair, we did a lot of research as well, just based on old films. Also, you know, not just the movie stars, but just normal people. And what we saw was they were a lot of flat finger waves and a lot of bobs, because in the 20s is during the revolution of the women, I think, when they started to vote.
I think it's important to actually see the real people, not just the movie stars, right? Because the first thing that pops up usually whenever you research any kind of period is usually the movie stars, the models, but that's usually very over-exaggerated beauty here, which is not necessarily beautiful. Since we're doing a film about regular people, movie stars, so that's important to kind of know that.
Okay, so back in the 1920s, for makeup, the eyebrows were a lot longer and thinner, so they drew them down longer. Nowadays, I feel like creases are darker and lids are lighter, whereas back then it was vice versa, because eyelids were really dark. A lot of red lips, and they would put like a little bow, really define that. A lot of blush. There was no bronzer, no contouring, no highlight back then.
We've come a long way.
Yes, yes, definitely.
I went and got a bunch of pearls and just got inspired, and the 20s is my favorite period, so getting to build each character with Dale was an honor.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see like how fashion does a cycle, you know? There's stuff I'm looking at, you know, even Macy's, and then now it's can compare with the 20s, so it's fun to mix it in. I just love how each character has their own definition, and you can like feel what kind of vibe they're giving off through even like a butterfly pin in one of the guys' jackets. It's just because he's more preppy and, you know, louder and stuff like that. So yeah.
Just want to talk about the cast a little bit. We have a wonderful cast. Lance Hendrickson, Everette Wallin, who's also the writer, one of the writers. Frank Lammers was one of our cast. He plays the host. Amazing international actor from Holland. I actually saw him in a movie called The Admiral. I thought he was amazing. He had never done anything in the U.S. before, and it was quite, how should I say, it was really hard getting him here. The visa process was a very long one, and we were just so excited at the end when we were able to get a visa for him to come here, and he's just a marvelous actor. It's his debut of doing a movie in the U.S., so we're really excited to have him.
The reason for doing this movie is the script arrived, and I do like, you know, frightening stories that have karmic payback. You do something bad's going to happen to you. But as an actor, I love all of the kind of search for what is really going on right now, because this takes the place of God. That's what's going on in this story. But I love this story because it is also a survival story. It's economics versus time. You know, time is a very strange piece of karma.
Yo, this is me, Frank, talking from Travel Town in Los Angeles in Griffith Park from the set of Derailed. We're in our 5th night shoot, so everybody feels like a zombie now, but we're knocking it out of the ballpark, and this film is coming to you live in a theater somewhere, and you can see it, and you should see it. Derailed with Frank Lammers from Europe, that's me, as the host. Dale is fantastic. Dale is not like the typical director who sits back from his video village and just orders people to do stuff and yells like, do it more like this. No, he's very committed, hardworking, doesn't stop until he gets it. If there's like earlier today a smoking machine in the wrong place, he'll move it himself. He's there for you. He's a nice guy, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. So.
You know, as they say, that you wear different hats, and you put on your hat for the writing. When you step into the acting, you just shift your concentration on that, and you just try to be, I don't want to be remedial acting class here, but you're just a person in a place reacting and responding to your environment and the people around you. And so I hope that I've taken care of the writing part of it beforehand. Now there might be something on the fly where you see something and you go, you know what, that sounded better in my head, but this is a really good actor and it still doesn't sound good. Let me change that. But for the most part, you just take on the role in the time that it's needed, and it's not really that hard. Well, knock on wood. You know, that if any of this is wood, that it doesn't become hard. But so far, that hasn't been a hurdle.
Well, my mom always gets emails about auditions that I could possibly do, and we found out about this one, and we thought we were perfect for the role. I was perfect for the role. So we went out for it, and he saw me in another movie called The Sandman, and he's like, well, we really like you in that movie, so just play it how you did it in that movie. So I did it, and they were like, we love you, and then a couple weeks later, I booked the movie. I am Abigail Barnes, and she is the rich little girl who ends up surviving at the end, but she's going through this hard time, but she's always been kind of upbeat about it. And, you know, she's this rich little girl, and she's awesome.
This film is unique in that it's a mashup of many different ideas. I've always been a fan of horror and scary movies and monsters, and when I was approached with this idea, I just thought, what can we do that's still, you know, fun but has something different to it? And that's when I got into this idea with the train, which was always there, but where would we film this? How would this really come together? And it brought us, with all the research that we did, we went to various stations in Los Angeles, because that's all we can work locally here for most of the part of filming, and we discovered Travel Town. Now, I knew Travel Town as a child, growing up in Los Angeles as a native, and I always dreamed of kind of coming to Travel Town, and we would visit for birthday parties and that, and here we are, we're filming at Travel Town in Griffith Park. And what's really cool is we get to shoot in one of the trains, which is not always open to the public. It's the train 3669, which originally was a train 369, 1920s dining car. And to know, I had no idea they even had that here. And so when I found that, I said, Suzanne, we found the place. Let's see if we can get the permission to film. And they have just been fantastic, Travel Town and the foundation here. And yeah, it has its own character. That's what really sets the mood and the tone and the environment for this story to take place. It happens, it's rather of a slow burn build about these characters that board this train on this fateful trip that eventually derails into a lake or into a river. And but it was really important to find the right train, something that had some historical, you know, significance was really great. And so the fact that we're actually filming inside a train is really special.
Well, the script came by way of Everette and Dale. They collaborated in doing it. I came across it because, like everybody, I auditioned it. So, and just the work that Everette and Dale had put in, and obviously we see Dale at work, just kind of show that it's going in the direction that we want. Well, my character is the train master. He makes sure that the train is running appropriately and that everything will work. And in this particular case, we're going to find that we have a derailment, and he tries to obviously prevent all that, do mechanical things along the way. The train master makes sure that everything definitely ran well. If the train master didn't do his job, it would be kind of like the head mechanic not fixing a problem on a Boeing 747, and the next thing you know, over the Atlantic, it goes down. And I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So there's a great responsibility to both the train company as well as the passengers.
I'm actually really afraid of the dark. And so Everette is one of the co-writers on the script, and he sent me this. I've known him for many, many years. And he sent me this and asked me to read it over and audition for it. And a big reason why I was excited about it was because I've always wanted to do a horror movie, hoping that if I could peek behind the veil, that then my fear of horror movies and the dark would maybe be lessened. I have yet to know if that's actually going to happen. But I also really liked the idea that this was a horror movie with a female protagonist. Not only does she, not only is Evelyn, the character I play, the only one who survives, but she also throughout is taking care of people, very much a leader. And I just think that, yeah, it's an important, because I feel that way. I'd be like, if I was on a train and a monster was killing me, I'd be out there kicking ass. So like, I've been preparing for the role for 7 years of studying acting. I definitely thought about, I think more than most projects, I've been asking myself what I would do in these situations. I think when you're in a fantasy world like this, that's really the only way you can wrap your head around it, is like, what would I actually do if there was really a monster that was gonna come eat me, and trying to make it as real as possible. Dale's great. Dale has an amazing ability to maintain his cool under any and all circumstances, which I don't know how he does it. He like absorbs all of the grizzly bear vibes and just dissipates them into nothingness, which is really impressive. And yeah, he gives really succinct, straightforward notes. If you know, and he's just very effective, very to the point, super kind, communicative, always there if you have questions. He's been awesome.